Hello everybody, welcome to Retouch Your Reality with Reese. I am your host, and on today's video, contacting your specific person. Hang up on the 3D. What I mean by this is we have an idea of thought transmission. Thinking about your specific person and then wondering if your specific person or anybody is thinking about you. And you have seen these ideas play out with anyone and maybe everyone in your life, where you are thinking about something and then they say it. You were thinking about someone doing something and then they did it. You were thinking about a friend or a co-worker or a lover or a family member, and they call you or they message you or something like that, right? Something pops up in your reality in the way that you are thinking about. Then we have this idea about thought transmission. Is it real? What's going on? That's what today's video is going to be about. So if you look at this, there is you, not the 3D physically focused you, because there is no actual 3D physically focused you. It's always changing in every moment, but you are recognizing as a 3D physically focused idea of yourself. You are realizing who and what you are. You are awake in the script, knowing that you are the script itself. You are that consciousness. You are conscious awareness. You are awareness that is conscious of being itself. You are consciousness aware of being consciousness. You are awareness that is the projection of everything, the thing that is being everything, experiencing itself from every single vantage point that can be seen from, while always being it. As that awareness, you are right now aware of infinite individual frames of reality, individual identities that are experiencing reality in a certain way according to a story that the identity exists in and there are frames that are associated with that identity. Remember, an identity is a version of yourself that has a certain reality experience. That's why if you know and understand that you are infinity, that you have these infinite frames and experiences, then you don't have to change anything. You can't. You don't have to edit anything. You can't. You don't have to delete anything. You can't. And you don't have to create anything either, because you can't, because creation's done. Done means choosing, not fixing. Because to fix something is choosing to see something that is broken, trying to make it something else which is fixed. But those two things exist perfectly as a broken version of you that always existed and a fixed version of you that always existed. The whole version of you knows you are all of it, and you are the one that chooses. That's what you are, as consciousness. So if you were to imagine a phone call, just to give a expression of the idea of thought transmission, you create the idea of a linear timeline of events where you believe that you are continuously speaking to a version of a person as a version of a person that is objectively them and you. And when you remember it later, it's creating the sense of, I prefer the conversation to have been that way, and then you imagine how you would have preferred the conversation to have gone, thinking things like, oh, I wish I said this, or I should have said that, or I would have preferred being this way, creating an illusion of a person that you think doesn't exist. Or you remember it in the way that you think happened. Again, creating a version of a person in the way that you think existed. But look at the core assumption of that. One doesn't exist, you prefer to have been this way. The objective one is what you think happened, and then you keep thinking it happened, that creating another version of reality you believe is real. But none of them are reality. You are reality as all of it. The now is always happening, okay? So while you are recreating everything, a preference or belief in similarity, and you pass it off as memory, what actually happened is what is always happening. You as reality itself are unfolding new moments in this moment of now, from here. Reality isn't coming to you here. Reality is manifest, completely back to front, as an idea of who you physically say you are right here and right now. That's who you are. As consciousness, who do you say you are? That's your reality. What conversation you had, that's your reality. If you didn't have a conversation, you just don't care. It's like, I'd prefer to have not even had a phone call. That's your reality. Why not? Because If everything exists now, the version of you that never had a phone call also exists now. So even during the conversation, in every moment, if every moment is brand new, and it is, that means each moment of it, regardless of expression, is new. But you don't have to divert the conversation mid-conversation. Just go through with it, and it doesn't actually matter, because you are the conscious one. So whatever you consciously do doesn't matter anyway, even if you did that, because it's still only one version of it. It refers to a past that exists only in context for that moment. So when you remember what you said, you are not actually the physical you that said it. You are remembering another version of you that said it, and you are not actually that person. It is you remembering a version of reality where you said that over and over again, giving time and space, context to what you are saying now, who you say you are. Even typing this stuff out, right? Thinking about it, watching the video, all of these things. You are remembering what I, you, whoever previously said, even though the words are already on the screen. The superposition of it means that there's no fixed script of what you are experiencing. It's part of the infinite timelines where I typed this out, okay, while I was typing it out, always unfolding from this now moment. And here's the thing, if you go back and watch the video again, I'm going to say the same thing that you think I said. That's your assumption of what this is, right? That is that frame of what I said, how I said it, or whatever that may be. I don't even know, because I haven't finished it yet. But I know there's a version of it that's going to be uploaded, that people are going to see. And that version is there. That script is written, right? But the way you experience your reality, even if that script is there in your reality experience, it is a brand new reality because of your point of view. Not because of mine, not because of what's on the video, but because of who you say you are. It must be a new version of reality, even if the images and videos and things like that also exist in that reality in the way that you remember them to be. They don't have to change. You have changed, therefore that has changed. It's a new version of it. So conversation is part of the infinite expression, before, during, and after. It's an expression of the infinite moment. When you're remembering something, or you want a conversation to have happened, or in the middle of it, it's always new, it's always part of awareness. You are unconsciously remembering this in infinite ways, or consciously, where you think that the linear 3D version of a person is the objective expression of the person who had the conversation with you. They're not, because you aren't the same person either. You may remember the conversation, and because you remember the conversation, that version of them that had a version of that conversation with you is the one that you keep seeing. The 3D expresses as you. So you forget conversations, bits and pieces, and you are even told about the same thing multiple times, even if you are the only one who remembers it, because it's only coming from your point of view. If it's no longer who you are, and you say, well, that's happened, you consciously know that's no longer of any interest to me, then it isn't. Then it doesn't come up. And even if it does, you know that you're no longer this person having a conversation or interaction that you don't prefer to have anymore. So it's not the physical you that remembers anything. It is the consciousness that you are remembering, creating a physical version of you, events, and people that remember that story as being true, but it's only another version of it. Now, thought transmission is the same thing, exactly the same thing. You are asking if the 3D physical them right now, which is real to you, that's the one that you think is real, heard the thought when you thought it or said it. And are they pretending that they're not thinking about you, or they are not thinking about you? If they are thinking about you, right? You're wondering about what the 3D mirror image of you is thinking about right now. If you are thinking about them, are they thinking about you? Can they hear your thoughts if you... There's no objective three-dimensional reality that's playing out. So whatever version you're seeing in the 3D mirror, it's only a version of reality as that. And currently it's the one where you are wondering what they are thinking about. Nothing. There's no thought that they had. Any thought that they are currently having in your experiencing of it, you have no idea what that would be physically. And even after that version of them is gone, it's another one entirely. So there's no thought that stays present and static in the 3D world that a person continuously just has. In reality, the imagined version of them that always existed in that way. The one that is always thinking about you is always thinking about you, and you are thinking about that one. When you are imagining something, even if it is a person you are actually in a relationship physically right now, the one that you are imagining, thinking about, that is the version of them that you are thinking about, the one that you are imagining. The physically focused expression of reality is the effect. You are seeing the effect of who you are being in consciousness. And what you are being in consciousness is being aware of a physically focused you and a physically focused them. Therefore, that is your physically focused reality. Even if you ask the one that you're with currently in your physical what they are thinking, they may or may not say what you were thinking. But it'll never matter, because the one that you are thinking about is the one that's thinking about you, or whatever you are thinking about them thinking. That's how reality and imagination works as one expression, because imagination is reality and it's all imagined. There's only one moment of a physically focused expression, and it's gone and it's gone and it's gone. Why? Because it's new, here and now. And it's the same for every physical version of every physical self, including yours. Whatever it is, eating a sandwich, right? There's a version of you that's continuously just doing that in infinite ways and forms. And yes, that is a desire. Having a certain kind of food, having a sandwich, having whatever, it's all versions of you that exist like that infinitely. Obviously, you aren't always experiencing that as a physical expression. Sometimes you don't want a sandwich after you ate one specifically. But in reality, you are always that potential. So thought transmission as awareness potential is not a thought jumping to another person and you experiencing it physically at some point, like instantaneously, they are thinking about me right now, why aren't they telling me? It's not that. It's recognizing you are only ever aware of what exists now. The now moment of what exists is your own awareness knowing it. It already exists in potential. So when you are thinking about the version of a person who is thinking about you, who is obsessed with you, who loves you, that is the version of them who is obsessed with you, who loves you, who is with you. And you are the superimposed consciousness being aware of every physical version of you that has a relationship with every physical version of everyone else who also has their own higher self and is projecting their physical selves as infinite versions of them. But you are only ever concerned in seeing yours. So reality is selection then, not a fixed state. Because there is no subjective version of anything that exists in some limbo. It's the selection of reality frames that create the identity of a person, the physical you and the reality at large all at once. So an identity that experiences a story, and the story made up of frames, are the frames that make up a story that altogether is the identity. And every one of us has infinite identities from the one identity of all that is. You are experiencing all of your identities as all that is in the stories that you are experiencing yourself consciously to be right now. Whew. So this idea is already true in the eternal now, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. Whether you think that, oh no, people shouldn't be obsessed with themselves or each other or whatever it is. Doesn't matter, it still exists. It just exists. Existence exists. If you can contemplate an idea, it exists. Regardless of whether you are physically seeing it or not. There's no objective, constant physical world. It's always changing into your assumptions of yourself. So when the more you allow yourself from being all that is, the more you experience being all that is, because you're only ever allowing yourself. You are thinking as the now moment. So whatever you are thinking is the now moment expressed. Because the only thing that exists is now. You do not talk to a future version of them. While on the phone even. You are experiencing a reality of conversation that exists now. You are experiencing it presently, and you are remembering another version of it entirely. Or not. You do not think at a person in this frame of reality. You're thinking of the person in the frame where that person is thinking about you and always has. You are thinking as the now moment of the version of reality where the person you are thinking of is thinking about you, and they always have, always will, and will always forever be that, thinking about your physical form as a consciousness becoming aware of it. The same with them. And a version of them has you thinking about them all the time, and they are simultaneously seeing it as potential and experiencing it, another version entirely. It's not you. That's their point of view. Not even the same physical version you are experiencing. I'm saying from their point of view, and another a version of reality, there is a physical you that they feel that way about, that wants you to think about them continuously, constantly. Everyone is exactly the same. Yet we are having our own specialized experience that is not exactly the same as everyone else, but is from the same exact source as everything. So even if you are not thinking about a person, that's still reality. If you're perceiving it as lack, right? Because you're still creating a world where every other physical being who is not simultaneously thinking about you. So if you are focused on being the version of yourself being thought of, that means everyone in your reality is thinking about you in a way not thinking about you. But it's your choice on how you choose to see it. And if you look at this image, you are source. You have all of these film roll scripts and scenes within you, and you are expressing them. So you have a 3D present. Hey, I want to phone a friend of mine, and you remember in this moment while you're dialing, I thought about phoning my friend. And in the future you think we're going to be talking, and in the next moment it is a version of that conversation, and then you are remembering a past where you call them while on the phone, thinking that we are going to continue this conversation until its natural end. And in another version of now, you're not on the phone, remembering that you call them, believing that you are going to go forward into whatever else you were doing in another moment now. But it's another reality entirely. So you aren't going horizontally from frame to frame to frame. You're going vertically, rather, experiencing a new now moment again and again and again, remembering another version of what you thought were the events entirely, over and over again. It's actually the most natural, maddening experience that you can contemplate, because it works perfectly because of what it is. Perfection in that. You see, the reason you can remember infinite conversations with the person is because there are infinite conversations with that person. So you can perpetually remember a version of it over and over and over again. And as you get further away from it, as in you start identifying with something else completely and utterly, it starts to just fade away. You don't even remember how many things you've forgotten that you have lived. So if you're looking at this idea now, where I'm in this 3D physical moment right now, and I'm thinking, hey, are my thoughts being transmitted? You are remembering a version of you in that now moment, exactly then, of another version of you that was thinking, hey, I have an idea. Is this real? Thinking that I'm going to think about this thought and hopefully my specific person hears it. That's just one frame. But it's not reality. Reality is knowing that when you are thinking of a frame, that's the frame. That's the reality. You can only ever think of and as reality. You as reality can't think about having a thought about reality. You're only thinking about reality as reality, depending on how you are choosing to see it. So when you light up that frame, that illuminated frame, that film roll of, hey, we are together, she's always thinking about me and he's always thinking about me, that's your reality now. That's the film roll you are on, because you are source. As source, you are all of it. You have that 3D past where you are loved. You have that now moment where you are illuminating yourself being loved. You have that future moment where it's, I've always been loved. You are always changing film roles, film scripts, over and over and over again from a new vantage point of who you are. So your illuminated script is the identity that you are, and the identity is playing out those stories. The identity is playing out the stories of the illuminated frame's identity that you have now chosen to be. So that past image, the future image, always in a state of flux, but always coming from who you are saying you are right now. In this moment of now, and in this moment of now, and in this moment of now, and in this moment of now. So the identity is all of those scripts all together, all of those scenes that make up the script. And you are the one that chooses the identity. That's who you are. And it works in this eternal viewpoint of now, that the present is created by who you say you are right now, because the only thing that is present is now. So the past and the future images that you think are behind you and in front of you I actually created now in this present moment of now, and in this present moment of now, and in this present moment of now, over and over and over again. So now if you're thinking about something, or if you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling whatever, and you identify with that feeling, you identify with how you feel in that moment, you're just creating more of that moment. But when you let the moment just be there, you feel crappy in the frame, feel whatever you're feeling in the frame, know that it only exists in the frame. Like if I do this, it's only in the frame, doesn't do anything, doesn't create more of it, it's just there. And you know, from a conscious point of view, that I am consciousness, I know what I lit up, I know who I'm choosing to be, I know who I am being because I know who I've chosen to be. So that must be who I'm being, and this does not matter, this is not who I say I am. That's your reality, because you have infinite frames and infinite scripts and infinite identities that you are experiencing yourself as, depending on who you say you are. And it works because every single person, as I said, has their own higher self consciousness. Every single person that you are seeing is another version of themselves presented from their own higher self, having their higher self's physically focused experience. But you're only seeing one tiny infinitesimal version of events from your point of view. You're not seeing every event that a person can experience. You're only seeing yours and whoever and whatever relates to your story that you have said. That's the only thing you are seeing. Why does it work? Because we are all one awareness. We are all the same awareness, seemingly split itself into versions of reality that all have the same higher self, that are presenting infinite versions of itself as physically focused forms, interacting with infinite versions of every other form that exists simultaneously in the entirety of existence. So when you light up that version of reality that you desire, as source, you are pulling from yourself an identity. You have all identities. That identity has a script. You are lighting up that entire script by being that identity within a certain selection of frames. So you're doing all three at once. You're basically choosing an identity, choosing a story, and then experiencing a bit of that story via selection. So you're selecting all three things in one go. It's never got us four mighty ones, where it says you are the director, producer, and the author, right? That's what you're doing. You are producing what story? That's your identity. That's your identity of the story. Then you are writing the story. Well, which one do I want to write? My love story. Okay. Then you are directing. You're basically being in the scene, directing how it plays out, what you do, what they do, what everyone does. From scenes that already exist, you're basically being a cosmic editor in your own imagination. Then you are the actor physically playing out your role from a script you know off by heart already by simply being who you are. That's it. You're basically just being yourself then, because you cannot know, and it isn't there, and there isn't a correct decision. If you go out your gate and you think, do I go left and do I go right? Is right my right decision for my reality, or is left my right decision for my reality? Is right where my specific person is today and we line up, or is it left? That's impossible. You don't know. You don't even have to worry about going right or left, because you can't miss anything if you went right or left. No decision is actually right other than lighting up your dream life and knowing you are that. That's it. So it doesn't matter where you went, because it always lines up with you. Reality is not created, and it isn't being experienced from your point of view from where you are not. That's another reality entirely that exists simultaneously with you. But it means nothing. The only thing that means anything is who you say you are. So, thought transmission to a specific person is not what you think it is. So you can hang up the 3D trying to contact them. Know that you always are in contact with everybody. Past, present, future, deceased, alive, doesn't matter. You are one with literally everything. And I am your host. This is Reality with These. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the like, sharing, commenting on the videos. Thank you for joining the TikTok page. Thank you for joining the Facebook groups, and much love and light. If you do have a question, please drop them in the comment section below. You can send me an email if you like. I'd love to hear from you. Much love, much light, and I will see you all in the next one.